and see me?
Yeah.
Come out and see me, ain't ya?
Here I am.
Ah, you're a good boy.
And now Catherine Tate proves that Gran is a four-letter word.
What a fucking liberty.
A lot of her, I don't mean her bad language, but a lot of her terminology is based on lots of people that I've known.
Oh, I can't be in here much longer, love. I go off me nut.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad.
Not much glory, but it's like a fucking circus in here.
The relationship between Jamie and his grandma is quite a sweet one, really.
I'll put the kettle on.
Did Jamie check the fuse?
Oh, don't bother asking him nothing, darling. He ain't got a job.
He's constantly surprised when she does turn on people.
How's your mum, darling?
She's OK, thanks.
Ah. She's still up the nut house?
Nan.
Now, I think you must have her confused with somebody else, Mrs. Taylor.
I remember when she got barred out of Tesco's when they caught a pin in the deep freeze. Off her fucking nut she was.
She can do absolutely anything. There's always that feeling at the beginning of each sketch that, you know, there's that great anticipation. You know she's going to say something unpleasant.
No, I won't take your money.
Now, be a good boy.
It's only a fuse.
That's not the point. There's £50.
Look, I can't take it.
But she just strings it out for as long as she possibly can, being sweet and cute and lovely and great, and then she's off.
What a fucking liberty. £50? He weren't here 5 minutes. Greedy little bastard.
Nan, you offered it to him.
He nearly took me fucking hand off.
Seems to be a winning combination, old people who swear.
I remember he used to come up here wearing his little cowboy outfit. Should have fucking kept it on.
But it's the privilege of age, though, that you're just exempt from normal rules don't apply, which I think is fair enough.
And a lot of good you were and all. Stood there worried about what side your hair's parted while I'm getting turned over by a man whose mother eats her own shit.
We have to run off for a few moments, but we'll be back with more favourite comedy characters for you to chew over.
Are there any eyes left?
Sponsored by Wii Sports.
With a new generation of engines and spectacular panoramic windscreen. Fall in love with driving again. Astra from Vauxhall.
Here's a tip from B&Q. Buy selected garden furniture sets and get 15% off the bill when you dine in your new dining room.
How can our bank help you?
I want to ask you a question, actually.
So could you speak into the phone, please?
Sorry?
Into the phone.
I've got a bit of a query.
Would the query be regarding current accounts, mortgages, or insurance?
Well, it's a question about my mortgage.
Sorry, can't hear you.
What is this?
I'm just practicing. I got a job in one of our overseas call centres.
Really?
Oh, they're in some fantastic places. Nairobi, Mexico City. Like a holiday. I mean, I'll only do a couple of calls. Hit the town, munch on a bit of a chimichanga.
At Nationwide, all our call centres are UK-based. Nationwide. No shareholders, just our customers. Proud to be different.
2 pints of lager and a strongbow, please. Crisps and all? Oh, yeah, nice. Yep.
Strongbow. Total first pint refreshment.
You just call out my name. I'll come running to see
Great Coke taste, zero sugar. Coke Zero.
With 15% off all Dulux coloured emulsion, she can have the perfect room to suit her style. Oh, very nice.
This Sunday, ex-EastEnder Elaine Lawden's journey from Albert Square to real-life tragedy.
Read my incredible story in my own words, exclusively in Sunday's News of the World.
Most attractive prices at BA.com.
A government accountable to no one.
I didn't do whatever they said I did.
Now they crossed the wrong man. Shooter.
So, you're gonna need a team. I'll assign you some slave drones. Milk them till they're dead. And if we succeed, I'm gonna be Charles, and you'll be my Camilla.
I'm going to be Johnson's Queen. If the public will accept me, I'm going to be Johnson's Queen.
The brand new series of Peep Show continues Friday at 10:30 on 4.
Sponsored by Wii Sports.
We're back with the world's greatest comedy characters. A whole host of the funniest faces from past and present we all know and love.
People like you make me sick. What's wrong with you? Okey cookie, pig in a pookie. Good morning, job seekers.
Morning, Pauline. Next is Pauline, the job star officer from hell. Created by the League of Gentlemen Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith, Pauline was inspired by their own harrowing experiences of dull scum degradation.
First up, who can tell me what this is?
It's a pen.
Yes, Ross, it's a pen, one of Pauline's pens.
Interestingly, Reece was going to play the part of Pauline. He was Pauline. And then I think, the whole thing had damaged him so much, he just lost interest in it. He said, I'm not going to do this. So we switched. I became Pauline. So my Pauline is me doing an impression of Reece.
Pauline is exactly like I imagine she always would be, with her little horns like that in her hair.
You what? You work?
Then we're just about to go for a take, and I think that looks brilliant. And then the wardrobe or the makeup lady will come in, they'll brush them down because they think it's not right. And I'm like, no, leave the horns.
She starts off very much in control of this group of job seekers.
You can shout out as many jobs as you like, Ross. You're never going to bloody get one, you worthless dull scum.
What we realised that people really didn't like her. She was a hate figure. And so I thought it would be interesting to kind of turn that and wrote a sketch where Ross interviewed her.
Home.
Royston Vesey.
Family.
Dad.
Friends.
Pens.
Friends.
Pens. The best friends you can have. Everything I know about people, I learned from pens. If they don't work, you shake them. If they still don't work, you chuck them away, bin them.
Can I get your age, please, Pauline?
I think that's a lady's prerogative.
I need to know how old you are for the records.
Well, let's just say I'm as old as my gums and a little bit
How
older.
old are you?
48!
Now, with Ross, he's more intelligent than she is. He knows he has this power over her, and she knows it too, and that's what she's attracted to. When we saw it back, we thought, wow, this is a bit strong. And what I think rescued it is the little moment when she feels her glasses coming off and she just shoves them back on. So even then, she's in control, In typically twisted League of Gentlemen fashion, despite the close attentions of Ross, Pauline finally finds happiness in the arms of her former victim, Mickey, the moron with a mullet.
I've been a fool.
We rehearsed the scene up to the point where we kiss, and then the director said, yeah, we'll cut before that, so don't worry, But in the end, he didn't say cut, so it's quite a sort of genuine, tentative, I suppose the way the first kiss should be. I'm really proud of that scene. It's got a lot of visual humour, because it's got the whole, carrot coming out of the knickers. And when we first saw that, we saw it in black and white. And when you see that carrot in black and white, it doesn't look like a carrot. Looks like Pauline is, has had a secret. We did talk for a while about the fact that Mickey might end up being a wife beater. And, she'd have to be saved again. But no, for now, let's leave it on and up and think, yes, they are very happy.
I'm just glad I finally managed to give you some sort of job.
Yeah? Will it affect me door money?
Before there were the new lads, there were the likely lads. It might be grim up north, but Terry and Bob showed it could be funny there as well.
England was going through this incredible transformation, which was called the 60s.
Ian and Dick, I think, just captured part of the 60s. That kind of grittiness and kind of two lads together.
Well, you hardly know you've been abroad.
Ah, no, all right, mate, don't you worry. She'd never have done in Barrow in fairness what she did in Tossa del Mar.
Terry was the bad boy of the duo, randy, thirsty and self-serving.
You gotta watch him, you know.
Oh, yeah.
He sees himself as a working-class hero by sticking to the principles and traditions of the working class, meaning a lot of unemployment, a lousy job, eating lousy food and going to the pub.
Oh, I needed that.
And he couldn't bear to spend money on a lass.
It's just as well to have a bit on you for emergencies. Emergencies? If I spend more than 10 quid on a woman, it'd be a bloody catastrophe.
And he'd want a return on his investment, that's for sure.
She's a nice girl, Pat.
Of course she is. Good legs, too.
Can't you think about higher things for a change?
Yeah, they're not bad, no.
It's very sad, isn't it, that some of our favourite episodes have gone. And then they did dig up one of our shows, and of all the ones they dug up, it was probably the one we liked least. It was what you might have called a pot boiler.
Yes, don't put that
We said,
out.
oh dear, really? Have you found that one?
The lads were far from dead and buried, however. Although sitcom revivals were then unheard of, the team returned in the 70s to find Terry divorced and down on his luck, and Bob in the steely embrace of Thelma.
Sometimes it worries me I'm so happy. I keep expecting something to come along and spoil it.
Daft thing. What could possibly do that?
Thelma outwardly despised Terry, didn't she? Thought he was everything. She didn't want Bob to be rough, coarse, working class.
What day did you get back?
Tuesday week.
Tuesday? There's a dart match that night against the Fat Ox.
Is that great? I'll pick you up at 8.
Smashing.
And yet, Terry would go, Thelma, pet. She'd go, Terry. You thought, she fancies him.
What are you doing here?
What are you doing there?
Hello, Thelma. What are you doing here?
You know, I'm learning a lot about your prejudices today. We could go right around the world and you would have a pat response ready.
Well, I'm a troubled man, you see.
Superfans Ant and Dec remade this classic episode in 2002. And here they are, proving just what talented actors Rodney Bewes and James Bolam are.
What do you think of Koreans, for instance?
Not to be trusted. Cruel people. Russians.
Sinister. Germans?
Arrogant. Spaniards.
Lazy. Danes?
Pornographic.
In 1988, a sitcom changed the face of American television. Stand-up comedian Roseanne Barr starred in the first comedy about a regular blue-collar family dealing with the very normal trials of life.
Would you guys shut up? Your dad's in there trying to sleep. Now, you know what to do, right? You pick DJ up from school, and then take him to soccer practice, and then come pick me up at the mall.
Geez, why don't you just buy me, like, a chauffeur jacket and a little cap?
You know, that's all I ever hear from you, isn't it? I need new clothes. Buy me a hat. Buy me a jacket.
Roseanne was almost identical to the character she played. Very dry and witty.
I mean, she'd literally come from Denver. I think at one point she lived in a trailer with her kids. Her husband was a postman.
I know, but I'm so sick of hearing him whine about how I'm smothering him.
Well, if you can still hear him whining, then you ain't pushing hard enough on the pillow.
Well, I think Roseanne was such a huge success because she really tapped into the zeitgeist of what was happening in America at that time. That people were struggling, feeling disenfranchised, after the Reagan years.
Hi, I'm Mike Summers, your state representative. How you doing?
Great.
Good. I'm going door to door trying to get to know my constituents.
Oh, door to door, huh? That takes a lot of time. Why don't you just go down to the unemployment office and see everybody at once?
She was just the voice of truth for what was happening at that time.
There was a buzz behind it. You know, there was a lead up, a build up to when it first came on the air, and it just exploded.
Oh, is this big pile of dirty clothes on the floor here for me? Oh, honey, and it's not even my birthday.
Now time to meet the world's worst and thirstiest shopkeeper.
Black Books is the story of a modern-day misanthrope who appears to be running a bookshop and appears to have a level of interest in books, but both of these are in fact lies.
Time to go home, come on.
It's only 2:45.
Yes, but it's my shop. Come on, go home. Bye-bye, thank you.
Bernard Black, the malevolent alter ego of comedian Dylan Moran, spends most of his time with the equally shambolic Fran and Manny, but his best friend in the world is the bottle.
There's a romance that the Irish bring to these things, you know. Funnily enough, I was daydreaming about if I had that part, and I think it would be shit. I mean, because I'm English, and it would be too aggressive, and it would be too angry, and it wouldn't have the charm and the kind of poetry of drink.
Manny, I don't feel that well. Like I'm being beaten up underwater. I can feel bits of my brain falling away like a wet cake.
Lots of comedians that knew Dylan did say, well, it's Dylan.
Dylan's really quite charming.
Yes, he can smile, does Dylan. Bernard smiles about 3 times, I think, in the entire series.
More. No, that looks nasty. Take it down. That's it.
I think Bernard would like to be around in the early part of the 20th century.
Yeah. One of these days, Joyce and Hemingway, they're going to come in the shop. I'm going to write my great novel.
Well, I've been reading your short stories.
That's different.
Yes, but it's good. Listen, have a listen to this.
Give me that.
Feared by men and admired by women, Brendan Blake turned from the window and patted Larry, his barely hominoid, milk-fed gimp.
The relationship between Bernard and Manny is sort of the lighter side of domestic abuse.
Oh, look, you've popped out.
There is a level of abuse, but in that peculiar way that neither can break out of it.
Get out!
And so the abuse goes on, and long may it ever fester.
Dylan has this amazing quality to mete out all of this horrible treatment.
Don't ask questions, just do it!
And women can still look at Dylan and go, oh, isn't he nice?
Oh, look at...
I want to mother him.
Maybe women want to clean him up. You know, there's a level of you know, when you want to have a really good tidy, there may be a level of that with Bernard. I mean, he does have quite nice hair.
After forced retirement in 1990, little ray of sunshine Victor Meldrew found he had more time on his hands to vent his frustration at the world, which he did for the next 10 years. Unbelievably.
I was out the back working in the garden when he arrived, so I asked him if for the time being he'd put it in the downstairs toilet for me. And you know what he's done? He's only planted it in the...
He was just a man who had an extra gene, I suppose, that he, you know, so many of us don't complain about things.
Just about the absolute limit of all bloody time.
But there are people who won't let go. And if they think there's an injustice, you'll fight for it and you'll speak your mind. And that's what Victor was.
We watch him because we know that he's going to explode, that he is going to burst into flames. He's going to get so wound up by everything. And he is defeated by everything. Nothing goes right for him.
Any joy? Yes, I think it's safe to say I've had a very good day, all told. In the morning, I turned some water into wine. Then I healed a few lepers. And after lunch, I popped over and parted the waters of the Red Sea.
Did the man come about the roof?
No, but you can't expect miracles.
When you don't get a chance to use your brain or to work, there's no adrenaline created, and you just begin to become quite passive. And that's what he was railing against to some extent.
How do you know I'm not a natural blonde?
Well, that's for you to prove otherwise, isn't it?
Oh, for God's sake, I think I may throw up.
People used to say to Annette Crosby, "Why do you live with that man?" She said, "Well, I love him." And he loved her.
Sorry, what's your problem, matey?
Why don't you just dangle your private parts out of the window, Andy? You'll be done with it, for goodness sake.
Sacha Baron Cohen created Kazakhstani TV reporter Borat after being inspired by a crazy doctor he met on a trip to Russia.
I like him more than Ali G. Something about him makes me think, mind your language, a little bit, but it shows off Sacha's talents a lot more than Ali G does.
I think the core elements of Ali G and Borat are pretty similar. To lull people into this kind of false sense of security when they're being interviewed so that they reveal things about themselves that they wouldn't necessarily otherwise reveal. And that it's so shambolic and terrible that it will never air on TV.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations.
Kazakhstan was chosen fairly much at random as a country that was real, but people didn't know anything about. So he could make up anything about the cultures and customs in Kazakhstan, and people would take it relatively seriously.
What is this here?
That's a urinal.
Is it shower?
No, that's where they do their toilet.
You lie down here?
No, you stand up. Stand up.
You,
And then, no.
It meant they sort of had a slight doubt, God, is this really true? I don't want to rubbish somebody's customs, I'd better go along with it.
When you've been to the toilet,
yes,
you wash your hands.
And do you ever do a toilet in here?
No. You'd be thrown out of the club if you did.
Why?
Because it's not hygienic.
But why not?
In the 6 years we've been filming Borat, we've never washed the suit or the shirt once. Or I think the underpants either. So he takes method acting to a whole new level there.
Not content with fooling the British population, Sacha took Borat to America and caused controversy when he got a group of cowboys to join him in a supposedly traditional Kazakhstani song.
Throw the dude down the well, so my country can be free. You must grab him by his horns. Then we have a big party.
When you're on the front page of the International Herald Tribune, there's not many comedy characters that get there. So from that point of view, it's all good publicity.
I come back now to my village. I haven't been here 1 month. I've been traveling everywhere.
We decided that we wanted to go and film in Borat's homeland in Kazakhstan, and discovered to our sort of chagrin that actually Kazakhstanis look nothing like Borat.
Hey, Papa! Hey!
As it turned out, Romania was the place for us to go. So we went to Romania and found a man who managed to locate for us a gypsy village.
Hey, this is my mama! You have grown,
And he told us in order to film with the village for an entire day, we simply had to pay them with a pig.
This is Igor. He is my pet.
Which they promptly slaughtered in front of our very eyes, cut the throat as we heard squeals like you've never heard before, and offered us the burnt, hairy skin.
Mmm. So good. Are there any eyes left?
Keep your eyes peeled after the break, when we'll bring you some more very funny people and some shocking revelations.
The cameraman had a hell of a time.
Sponsored by Wii Sports.
Tuesday night, E4 11:35, brand new Peep Show. Mark and Jeremy, two great comedy characters.
blood. The whole damn river.
We are witnessing biblical events. What are you doing?
Ending this.
The Reaping.
New Cocoa Pops Creations. Now breakfast is 4 times more fun. 4 fantastically different types of Cocoa Pop cereals in one. Mix them up and create your own special breakfast.
Now, let the fun begin! New Cocoa Pops Creations make a bowl full of fun.
There's a thing in my pocket, but it's not one thing, it's many. It's the same as other things, but exactly like nothing else. It has an eye and an ear that shares what billions hear and see. It's not a living thing, but if you feed it, it will grow. It can rally the masses, it can silence the crowd. It can speak 1,000 words, but it has no voice. It can find you the places, so you can get lost. And it can let others feel what you've just been touched by. There's a thing in my pocket, but it's not one thing, it's many.
Strepsils, fast-acting medicine to soothe sore throats back into shape. Strepsils, first aid for sore throats. Now, a blocked nose can also be relieved with the menthol vapours of new Strepsil sore throat and blocked nose.
New KFC Honey Barbecue Boneless Bites. 100% succulent, tasty white breast meat. Just $2.49 for 5 pieces. Get down to KFC.
I didn't feel a thing. It glides so smoothly that you'll hardly notice it. Wilkinson Sword Quattro Titanium with 4 titanium-coated blades for fantastic feeling skin. And now new Quattro Titanium Energy, the first battery-powered Quattro that provides gentle pulses for an even smoother glide. New from Wilkinson Sword.
It's the filled to the brim ginsteriness that brings out the honesty in anyone.
Ginsters, real honest food.
One of the world's most glamorous beauty pageants. The only criteria for entry,
Hello there.
you must have been born male. Now, one man is determined to bring the title back for Britain.
They're not giving me any chance. I'm stuffed on the end. Total dick, really.
Mr. Miss World, Tuesday at 10 on 4.
Sponsored by Wii Sports.
You're watching the world's greatest comedy characters. It's already been a surprising night, and there are plenty more comedy legends in the house.
Booyakasha!
And now for the Beckham of Peckham, Del Boy Trotter.
Del Boy is unfairly sort of written off a bit now in comedy history as a sort of a character that was of a time, this sort of very 80s character, you know. He was kind of a big Thatcherite and he had the mobile phone and everything. But as a great comic character, Del Boy is an evergreen.
Del, these dolls ain't called Barbie or Cindy. These dolls are called Lusty Linda and Erotic Estelle.
Bloody hell. You know, he's got a wonderfully expressive face. His little pigeon-chested walk, you know, for instance, is very Del Boy. He's constantly wanting to be up there.
It's a question of he who dares wins. He who hesitates, don't.
We knew we wanted Nicholas Lyndhurst because he'd just been in Going Straight with Ronnie Barker. Ray Butt, the producer of the original series, came up to me and said, what about David Jason to play his brother? David Jason and Nicholas Lyndhurst do not look like brothers. Don't look anything like brothers. Never had one complaint, which is a huge compliment to the acting skills of both of them.
What is it you were after, Bill, eh? A sympathy from Lisa or a disabled sticker for the van, eh?
You listen to me, you vicious little git. I may never walk again for the rest of...
By about the fourth or fifth series, everywhere we went, people say, hey, come and meet our Del Boys. Everybody knew one.
And it's only kosher.
Well, this is the watch that's been missing for over 300 years.
Yes, the Harrison Lesser watch.
So what is it?
It's a watch.
The number of shows the whole family could watch started to diminish. What are we going to show the whole family, particularly at Christmas? And, of course, Only Fools and Horses was a pretty obvious candidate.
The bid stands at £4 million.
I think he's just one of those characters that you just love, you know, and a lot of people identify with.
We're all immoral when it suits us, we're all very moral when it suits us, and we're all very knowledgeable about things we know nothing about. I think he encapsulated a great many characteristics that the British male should be rightly proud of.
Well, goodbye.
Hey, no, not goodbye, Margaret. No, just bonjour.
Next, a remarkable performance by Little Britain's Matt Lucas, a 30-something middle-class man who's utterly convincing as the chain-smoking teenage uber-chav, Vicky Pollard.
Just been speaking to a little girl who says you pushed her in the pool, did you?
New, but new, because what happened was you knew the Redman sisters. Well, they found a Veruca fucking a girl's bogs and put it in Carrie's bag, and she completely had an epi and turned up to Kamal Sharma's party with a compass and stabbed Kamal Sharma. But anyway, Shelley Bentley gave Craig Herman a blowy in the shallow end for a bite of his funny foot.
You do almost forget it's Matt and think it's a teenage girl. You know, even when he's like in a female girl's swimming costume, standing in a swimming pool, it's like you completely buy into the illusion.
She's just filling air with words. She's just got no idea, really. It's just that she's just taken, you know, she just needs to react. She's incredibly reactive. So someone said something, it's just, you know, straight back at them.
I think it's a very eloquent comment on the complete decline in literacy and articulacy that we've got, especially amongst those who, like Vicky, are demotivated, alienated. And the inarticulate repetition of, yeah, but, no, but. We recognise, we hear it every day on the streets.
What was Lord Kitchener's role in World War One? No, but yeah. In World War One or something, there was this bloke, right, called Kitchen or something or nothing, who done this thing, but he ain't even not done it, so shut up.
You revel in, oh my God, how did he get all that out? You know, and when you see the outtake shows, you realise it takes a while, probably.
They make sure that they stick 100% to the script on the Vicky Pollard stuff. They're real perfectionists about it, so they've literally got someone sat there making sure that he does the Vicky Pollard stuff absolutely verbatim.
I've warned you before, if you don't have a ticket, you're gonna have to get off.
Oh my God, that is so unfair. This is like, well, sexual harassment. If you like fancy me, why don't you just say so? God, this is exactly like the time Miss Rennick, who everyone knows is a total lesbian, made Candice Burton stay behind after PE, started telling her off with gubbing on Samina Kashwani's hair, but everyone knows she only made her stay late because she wanted to get off with her, because when she was telling her off, her legs were wide open and Candice reckoned she could see a spider.
It did take a long time to get it because he does want to get it right. He does want to get it word for word.
He's a really interesting performer and people can't help but love him. There's this sort of warmth that people feel when they see him, and a bit like Julie Walters, you know, and Judi Dench, if you like.
You just listen to applaud her and just go away. And then she's there to be applauded. I think she's an incredible character.
I was always amazed watching The Young Ones because I knew he was an actor, and I thought, I was partly amazed that anyone would want to get up and be that much of a twat on television.
Oh no! The front door's exploded!
Rick Mayall pioneered alternative comedy in the 80s with his post-punk slapstick. The Young Ones, written with Ben Elton and Lisa Mayer, brought him public acclaim as wannabe anarchist and Cliff Richard devotee, Rick.
I can't believe it! My parents are dead!
You think that's bad?
Yes, I do, actually. What's it to you, piss-face?
There was a character that you had never seen on the telly, which was a totally recognisable, middle-class, lefty idiot. Everybody that I knew someone like that, or indeed was someone like that.
Can you, actually kill yourself with laxative pills?
He's a part-time socialist, he's a part-time revolutionary.
This house will become a shrine, and punks and skins and masters will all gather round and hold their hands in sorrow for their fallen leader.
But when it came down to it, he always shat himself.
And all the grown-ups will say, but why are the kids crying? And the kids will say, haven't you heard? Nick is dead! The people's poet is dead! And then one particularly sensitive and articulate teenager will say, other kids, do you understand nothing? How come Rick be dead when we still have his poems? And another kid will say...
It doesn't really stand the test of time in the way others do. It's dated, but possibly more than any other show, it was the show that made me want to be a comic. It just felt so right.
Who cares about Thatcher and unemployment? We can do just exactly whatever we want to do. And do you know why? Because we're young ones.
He was the biggest kind of comedy hero of that era.
Look out! Clear! That was close.
Now, best of order, please, for Peter Kay's finest moment as Brian Potter, the wheelchair-bound proprietor of a working men's club in Phoenix Nights.
Welcome to the Phoenix Club. If you'd like to make your way through to Pennine Suite, canapes will be served forthwith.
It was basically written, to be honest with you, off our experiences, because I worked the clubs and did horribly badly, and Peter used to go to the clubs.
Let's hear it for Albert. Albert's a registered diabetic. Come on, the louder you scream, the faster the ride. Those are the rules, folks. Come on.
Who? Rave on. Look at him, he thinks he's back on the waltzes.
Look at this lot, though. I've not seen him this excited since they printed that paedophile's address in paper.
You meet these concert secretaries and you meet these people, the managers and stuff. There's a lot of Brian Potter in all of them, and they're very quick, and it's all like, hey.
Before Phoenix Nights, Brian Potter and most of the regular characters were first seen in the spoof documentary series That Peter Kay Thing.
That's him sorted out.
Feeling the pressure more than most is the club's social secretary, Brian Potter. We caught up with him and the committee as they were debating the entertainment for the children's Christmas party.
What about Nobby Alcock?
We went to a general committee meeting where all the concert secretaries from the region went to this one meeting, and that's where we got that little scene where there's a meeting just around a table and he still insists on having a microphone, even though they're only there.
I hear me out. I know he's blue, but he does a smashing sideline in Punch and Judy's for kids.
He's filthy and he's fucking foul mouth.
Hey, there's no need for that language, please. I've got a photograph of the wife in the wallet. Can you curb your language?
He's a mishmash of comedy characters that we all loved anyway. There's a bit of Mannering in him, there's a bit of Fletch in him.
How do you work here?
Sometimes, yes. I own it, all this. I'm the manager. Brian.
Lovely.
No, Brian.
Once you get to know what you're writing about, you do, between the three of us, we would say, actually, he wouldn't say that, he'd say this.
It won't be long now. Just you wait. Things I'm going to do to you.
Peter Kay, I don't think he did enough on Phoenix Nights. I understand that he co-wrote it and directed it and played about 7 characters, but I understand he didn't build the sets.
I want my money back. I want a moonwalk, son, but life's a shithouse. Out!
Next, welcome to the private world of Mark and Jeremy, played by comedy duo David Mitchell and Robert Webb. Their deepest, darkest thoughts are revealed in the award-winning cult sitcom Peep Show.
Jeremy and Mark are very different, really. I think they're plausibly friends, but they're friends who shouldn't live together.
Yes, what's happened to my Muller? Oh, no, you haven't, have you? You haven't been sexing it up in here with my yoghurt?
Relax, Mark, it's all right. We were just feeling very horny.
I don't want to hear about it. And I don't want it using up all my yoghurt and bloody shower gel.
Mark, I'm just in a very erotic relationship right now.
You can imagine them having a nice time in the pub, and then they ended up sharing a flat, and their differences were immediately focused onto the kitchen and the bathroom, where it's not a joke anymore.
You might want to give that a bit of a rinse, actually, mate.
It's partly because Mitchell and Webb are an existing double act, and so their kind of chemistry and their existence is great.
But it's not something we don't sort of use the same deodorant or in other ways share DNA to try and create that chemistry. But if it's there, that's great.
God, I can't believe we're going back to Darty. There's no Quim, likes to party.
Like the Quim down in Darty.
What I'd say really sets it apart is the internal monologues. We get to hear what these guys are thinking, and I think that works especially well for David Mitchell's character.
Want me to give you blowback?
What, here? Oh my God, it's the last days of Rome.
You bang, you're straight in the action, you're in their thoughts, and, if they're about to be kissed, you're them, and here comes the person towards you.
Can I kiss you, Sophie? Oh my God. What about my abnormal knackers? Oh, this is nice. How weird are they? What I really need is a good, long look at another man's bollocks.
Means that when there's a sort of semi-embarrassing sexual scene to be shot, I don't get many of them, they will go to Rob. But it means that there's no actual actor-on-actor action, but that means that the cameraman has a hell of a time.
By the winter of '42, the whole city was surrounded. The Russians couldn't hold on much longer. Many wanted to submit.
Mark, you know I don't just bang anyone, yeah? I'm not some kind of next-door fuck jar.
I do share his interest in history, I must say. I'm quite into history. I like a bit of the History Channel. I'm not interested in the business secrets of the pharaohs.
Sophie, it's good to hear your voice. I know it's only a recording, but you have got a bloody nice voice. I just called up to say hi, and then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like, I like you.
In real life, the Marks of this world leave their pent-up emotions pent up. But obviously, for a sitcom, it's great to have those emotions let out. So, that's why he's larger than life, because he can actually go and urinate in his boss's drawer or go bungee jumping and freak out, or whatever.
Look, Mark, just relax and I'll be with you all the way.
No, I don't want to go. I need a sandwich.
Looks like we got ourselves a Humpty.
I'm hungry. All right, I'm too bloody hungry to jump. I'm too bloody hungry to jump. I'm starving. It's not fair. It's not fair. You can't make a hungry man.
It has the same strengths as all sitcoms that have worked have, which is that it channels pain into jokes.
Mate, are you sure you're all right to...
It's cool, Jez. See you around, Soph. Oh, Jesus.
Steady on.
At number 11, it's another odd couple, the absent-minded, cheese-loving inventor Wallace and his long-suffering, faithful friend, Gromit.
As a British person, I love how quintessentially British it is.
They are particularly set in a Britain of some years ago.
Cracking toast, Gromit.
There's this kind of incredible relationship between the two of them. They're a bit like a couple of old queens, really.
Any post, was there, perchance?
I can't remember a time when Wallace gets cross with Gromit, but I can picture in my mind's eye lots of times when Gromit looks at the audience as if to say, look what I've got on my hands here.
Nice walkies,
I believe Wallace and Gromit is exported all over the world, and it's very popular in France.
Adapté à notre façon moderne de vivre.
And also Germany.
Ist eigentlich gar nicht so schlecht.
And I believe in Japan.
Walking machine was haiko daro. What, no cheese, Gromit? I mean, it would be fun to hear what that sounds like in Japanese.
Gromito! Cheese da!
Wallace and Gromit have won 3 Oscars for creator Nick Park. Added to the one he won for Creature Comforts, this puts him on a par with Clint Eastwood and Steven Spielberg. Cracking awards, Gromit!
They're so warm. They're real. You know exactly what they're about, and that's the thing. It's that lovely warmth.
All's well that ends well, that's what I say. Oh, I do like a bit of gorgonzola.
One day in the late 1990s, two actors called Simon and Jessica decided to write an absolute gem of a sitcom about two flatmates, their friends Mike, Twist, and Brian, and their landlady Marcia. Oh, and a dog called Colin. This is their story.
I'd been sort of living in various sort of states of squalor in London and doing various shitty jobs, and sort of wanted to write something that reflected my experience.
Morning, flatmate. Coffee and Kilroy.
Oh, thanks.
Tea and Trisha.
No.
They are very much like Simon and Jez, because they wrote them together and they have a very, very long history of friendship.
We could go out.
What, you and me?
Yeah.
I don't know, Daisy.
What else are you going to do?
OK, then.
They were sort of Terry and June storylines in that my dog's gone missing, but visually they were just taken to another level. And I kind of felt like it suddenly made me think, oh, you know, sitcoms are quite modern.
Critically, Spaced was a triumph, hailed for its brilliant portrayal of 90s slacker culture and razor-sharp pastiches of classic movies.
Ready?
Yeah. There's been an accident. Somebody got hurt. Who? A lady. How'd you know? Because we hit her. Did we? Yeah, that's her there.
The fact that the characters are so kind of like, their lives are so governed by pop culture and media and stuff that they can only think in those terms.
Tim, in particular, has unresolved issues with George Lucas, namely the travesty of the Star Wars prequels.
You so do not understand. You weren't there at the beginning. You don't know how good it was, how important. This is it for you, this jumped-up firework display of a toy advert. People like you make me sick. What's wrong with you?
Not content with changing the face of the British sitcom, Spaced created a sex god in the shapely form of Tim Bisley.
Simon has one of those faces that registers hurt and joy so palpably. He's got a little open book of a face, really.
It was nice to see you again, Tim.
Well, you're nice too. It was nice to see you too.
The characters have genuine heart.
But the show left the fans hanging on the big one. Daisy and Tim, will they or won't they?
I think things happen when you least expect them to.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Almost there. Join us after the break for more of the world's greatest comedy characters.
Fast true. Excellent.
Sponsored by Wii Sports.
This is the story of our spring price cuts. Save £30 on this orange Motorola V3 Razr, now under £50. Don't shop for it, Argos it.
Our primal instinct is to protect. ADT monitored alarms are linked to a protective network, alerting you and the police fast. ADT. Be protected. Get connected.
The handheld vacuum that doesn't lose suction from Dyson.
Hey there, little snapping turtle, snapping at a shell. Ah, there's mysteries inside, I know, but what they are, I just can't tell for sure.
People are good together. So with the Canary Talk and Text package, our customers get unlimited calls to other Orange mobiles. And the rhythm
rhythm of life is a powerful beat. Put a tingle in your fingers and a tingle in your feet. Rhythm in your bedroom, rhythm in the street. Yes, the rhythm of life is a powerful beat. Flip your wings and fly to your daddy. Take a dive and swim to your daddy. It's a glory from you, daddy. Baby's got the rhythm of life.
When I wake up in the morning in bed, I'm thinking of the joys I hate. Jump to my feet 'cause I want more than the stairs and the money that don't. Gonna live my life, gonna have my say, have my working day. I'm gonna be me every day. Protection that works in sync with you. Sure.
We are witnessing biblical events.
It's human blood, the whole damn river.
Are you gonna kill my baby? No. Why not?
The Reaping.
I found my way to Forget-Me-Not Valley, where I made some new friends. I relaxed, looking after plants in my garden, and cared for my animals.
Enjoy the freedom of a peaceful life in Harvest Moon, only available on Nintendo DS.
Listen to a different kind of radio at channel4radio.com.
Sponsored by Wii Sports.
Welcome back. The tension's beginning to mount as there are just a few comedy legends still fighting it out for the top spot.
Get out!
2 chalk ices, please.
Of course, it's Fletcher, isn't it?
That's right, yeah, that's right, Mr. Baraclough. Yeah.
Christian name?
Norman Stanley.
You felt like from the very first episode you see him, you felt like you knew him.
My house reflects my wife.
Big, is it?
Spotless.
It would almost seem worthwhile going to prison if you happened to share a cell with him. You know, you'd learn a lot about life and have a great time.
They are allowed to decorate their lockers with mementos of family and hope.
Those 2 are the wife, and that one's the wife's sister.
Porridge is the closest we've ever got in this country to doing an American-style sitcom. An American-style sitcom is about people who are naturally funny and witty. Ronnie Barker was playing a naturally witty, funny guy who's telling jokes.
You see those flowers over there? I want you to fill one for me.
What, from here?
Porridge was the perfect comedy caper, pulled off by the brains of the outfit, writers Dick Clement and Ian LaFrenne, and the Mr. Big of comedy acting, Ronnie Barker.
He had originally had the idea of doing a series in prison, but he'd seen it more like Bilko, wheeling and dealing and smuggling women into the prison and that sort of thing. And we immediately went round real prisons, and they're so depressing, and we thought we've got to get this real and get it right and acknowledge that prison is not a fun place to be.
7:30, slopper, supper, 7:45, lights out. Any questions?
Any point?
None whatsoever.
And Ronnie immediately respected what we'd written and went with that and was happier with it, actually, and always said so.
I was saying to Jackie this morning, there's too many of you youngsters today. They're always poking fun at people because they got short legs or long legs or bow legs.
Who's Jackie?
Jackie, you know Jackie, him in the hobby shop. Little fat puff with ears like Juggo.
It's all down to Ronnie Barker's timing. I mean, obviously, it's a classic script as well, but the timing of his put-downs.
I once boxed for Midlothian boys.
Oh? Who against? Lanarkshire girls?
If you look at Arkwright and you look at Fletcher, you do genuinely look and go, that's not the same bloke who played them parts. It is an amazing sort of testament to how good Ronnie Barker was, you know. Favourite episode?
I'm very fond of The Harder They Fall.
The Harder They Fall is definitely the boxing one.
Oh, fire drill. All back your own soldier, fire drill.
There's a great scene in it between Ronnie and Godber. You know, when he has to tell Lenny that it's not going to be his night in the boxing competition.
Big Grouty wants you to take a dive in a second.
I can't do that, Fletcher.
I know that. I respect you for that. But you've got to try and see it from the position that I'm in, see?
Well, I appreciate that, Fletch, but I just can't do it.
But why not? I mean, what does it mean? It's meaningless. Just inter-wing fighting? What is it? It's meaningless.
I know that.
Well, then why can't you do it?
I've already promised Billy Moffat that I'll go down in the first.
The switch that Ronnie does from anguish to outrage is wonderful.
Well, I just don't understand the modern generation. I just do not understand.
At 8, from one of the darkest comedies, it's one of the darkest comedy characters.
In the second series, he originally was going to be in the 3rd episode. And we actually just were reading the script and going, actually, you know what? Let's start with an extraordinary thing.
Tell them the circus is coming to town.
Cause you're mine.
It was such a confident performance by Reese.
Hello, Dave.
I'm sorry?
Is that Dave?
And when you see something that's so fully formed and yet so really immediate impact, only being in one episode, everyone seemed to be doing the voice. And when we were looking for a cage, one turned up and the props guy said, you know, it was the one from The Elephant Man. And we all just knew that was perfect because we're all huge fans of that film. Yeah, it was, you know, it was pretty terrifying.
But it's not an easy part to perform with a straight face.
Okay, please don't do that.
Just to keep it fresh, because it wasn't scripted, you can't write gibberish. He would come out with different stuff on each take.
Come on. Ich bin Dalek Conversation.
For some reason, the one that really tickled me was catnip. Catnip. You know, it was repeated twice.
Catnip. Catnip.
Sorry. Catnip.
Women would find him, they would say, yes, I quite like the idea of being abducted by this strange man and taken from my suburban world and, you know, put in a cage and hosed down by dwarves. I don't know. I really don't know why people like that character so much, but they do, so.
In the post-Thatcher Britain of the early 1990s,